Welcome back to our Owl's Walk. We start with good news this week. That iconic owl is back for the third kit. We've missed that owl. On the pitch, though, James says that was the most Sheffield Wednesday thing to happen to Sheffield Wednesday. Chris makes the point, we must be the only club not to have improved through a transfer window. Absolutely disgraceful Wednesday. We're going to try and keep things positive this week on Where Owls Walk. We've got Andrew, Matt and Glyn to discuss the most tragic goal scored ever at Hillsborough. Welcome to our Owls Walk. We'll try and do it and keep our faces straight. Welcome back, Andrew, Glyn and Matt, and welcome back to you. If you haven't yet already done so, please drop us a subscribe down at the bottom there. We're also available on Spotify as a podcast to download, so you can listen to us in the car on the way to work as well. Let's jump straight into it. Andrew, we'll start with you then. This week then, let's do with the good, first of all. Then Bannon's goal, good first half performance, decent-ish. Pick out the other bones of what impressed you.
Well, those comments you saw about the rates, our performances, well OTT. We improved vastly on the last home performance against Leeds, no doubt about that. But we did not play as well as we did against Plymouth, no doubt about that either. So it's an in-between performance. And again, the problem is who is going to be scoring the goals? Because we have been getting goals. We've got 4 against Plymouth and 5 at Crimson. It was a League Cup match. But we seem to be struggling to score goals now in our league matches. And Ugbo, are we back to his Cardiff syndrome performances, where he's scoring 1 every 5 games, if that? We don't want to be going down that avenue. We're relying heavily on somebody up front scoring, and it just didn't look like happening. We had a couple of chances, we didn't take them. Go in at half-time 0-0, and then they've got their tails up. They've got every chance. They think they might snatch one and sort of take points away from us. And then, of course, a quality goal. Smith, brilliant chest down by him. He made it. And then Bannon's quality finish. And I thought we've stolen this, and great, and we deserve it. We deserve the win. On the balance of the play, Wednesday deserved to win that match. We should have won it. And the 1-0 was the scoreline I predicted. And I was rubbing my hands with glee saying, I've got this one right. Then what happens? Ridiculously cheap free kick given away. And then all hands on deck. The ball's bouncing around like pinball style in the goal mouth area. But, where's the linesman? Why isn't he coming to see what's going on there? The referee, how close was he to the play? Our fans behind the goal were going ballistic, saying that Beadle was being sat upon by the number 3 guy. And that's why they equalised. It shouldn't have been given. The goal shouldn't have been given according to them. And I'll take their word for that. I couldn't see it clearly because I'm watching on a live stream. I'm not actually in the ground for this match. I think Matt may have been in Glyn, but I wasn't. I'm watching a live stream and I'm going to rely on what I can see there. But I didn't see any complaints. I suppose, the players didn't start going up to the referee and say to him, that can't give that goal. But our fans behind the goal were going a bit crazy as far as I'm aware. So not happy with the finish. We were robbed of 2 points there, and we're now on 4 points from the same 5 matches, which yielded 12 points last season. So I'm not a happy bunny.
Alan McAnally was doing the game for Sky when Bannon scored on whatever it was, 89 minutes. I thought of you 3. I thought, my Monday is going to be blissful, going to be lots of happy. And then I could not believe. And then when I saw the goal back, Matt, have you ever seen a more farcical goal scored than that?
Yeah. Sorry, Mark. Yeah, sorry. I'm a teacher by trade, so I see it pretty much every lunchtime in the playground. It was for those people who haven't seen it. Obviously, I would imagine that most people who are listening to this have done. If you haven't seen it, it's 22 blokes in the space of a phone box trying to kick lumps out of one another. It is an absolute farce of a goal. But again, it just goes back to the point of we were talking about on the last pod that we were on, surrounding our set pieces, both from our inability to produce any sort of a shred of a chance from them, which has now led into and crept into our throw-ins, all the way down to our ability to defend set pieces. Again, I'm sure I read a stat the other day which said 1/3 of goals in this division come from set pieces. I would imagine and wager on that we probably concede more than 1/3 of our goals from set pieces, and you've got no chance of us scoring anytime soon. So yeah, it was a complete and utter farce. But again, I agree with the top tweet of it being the most Sheffield Wednesday thing to happen to Sheffield Wednesday, because when it hit the back of the net, there was no from my perspective, where I sit, I didn't throw my hands up. I wasn't arguing. I just burst out laughing because it was just a absolute comedy of errors. It was tough afternoon. I'll be honest, a tough end to an afternoon. Which aside from that, I will say, Mark, we were really good. We were really good over the 90 minutes. And I would second what Andrew said. I think over the 90 minutes, we probably deserved the 3 points. But ultimately, you don't defend. You don't defend in this league, and it takes half a chance. And that's all it was, a half a chance. And the ball's in your back of your net, and you walk away with 1 instead of 3 points.
Yeah, Marty Cifuentes, the QPR manager, pretty much said exactly the same as well. By far the better side, certainly in the first half. Glyn, anything to add to the commentary of this? I mean, Lowe's conceding that free kick. I mean, you can't do that. I mean, you got 30 seconds of the game left. Just stand your man on.
100%, and Danny Roll called it as well, didn't he? After the game, I think he's called him out a little bit there, to be honest. But these things happen. The thing that I will say is, like the other two guys have said, we dominated for 80 minutes or so of that game, all the way through it. But it did feel as though at any point we could have been sucker punched and gone 1-0 down, and that is the Wednesday way. My concern is the lack of shots that are on target. I think the first half shot stats were something like nine shots. I can't remember seeing any of them shots. They were chances, they were half chances, but they weren't stinging the goalkeeper's hands. They weren't flying past the post or over the bar. Well, a couple did, but there was a couple of times where Marv came in off the wing, and last season before, you'd have seen him hit the ball. Plymouth's second goal was a prime example of this weekend when they've had a shot from outside the box, the keeper's parried it, and the second goal followed up and it's gone in. We're not seeing that. We're not seeing the shots on target, and like I said last week and the week before in the pre-season, the lack of goals is concerning, but more concerning is the lack of shots that's going on target for me. Okay. But yeah, Max Lowe, if we shoot and we create chances and we score goals, we're not worried about a 90, 96, 97th minute goal scramble, are we? And that's we're leaving ourselves susceptible to that if we're not scoring goals. That's my opinion.
All right, let's have a look at some of what social media had to say. Yes, we've covered the most. I love that most Sheffield Wednesday thing to happen to Sheffield Wednesday. Nathan says, appalling at defending set pieces, still have been for ages. Our miracle management don't seem bothered on working at it. Biff Bosch says, Bannon's moment of magic aside, another poor game. Every player was on a different page with precious little composure and urgency. We're toothless up front, overrun in midfield, and unsteady at the back. Roll has got big problems. Andrew, can I just come to you on this composure bit? Do you think there's a little bit of fear coming into the Wednesday players now, knowing the position that they're in and knowing how previous games have gone? Do you think they're not playing with the freedoms that they did against Plymouth?
I'd use another word being with F, not fear, and it'd be frustration. Frustration is what's coming because the players can do it. They proved they could do it against Plymouth. Remember I said to you, Plymouth are nobody's mugs. They beat Sunderland again Saturday. Notice they keep going strong since we obviously caught them at the right time. But no, the players have got the ability to produce. Now, Danny Roll has just got to get them to do what he's doing on the training field. I'm sure that they're capable of getting it together. And they shouldn't knock this performance against QPR because at the end of the, let's face it, we deserve to win the game and we were better than them. When Sheffield United played QPR, they didn't deserve to win the game. QPR got a draw there as well. So at the end of the day, let's not put Wednesday down too much because we are not, the results aren't the way they were last season against these 5 teams, I've already said. Okay, but the performances, Sunderland poor and Leeds poor. Millwall as well poor compared to what we can do. But Plymouth and QPR giving us hope, plus the League Cup runs, and we are not going to be struggling. We're not going to be relegation battlers as far as I can see with the squad that we've got when they start putting it together. So composure, yeah. I think that they will come together, because if it doesn't, then I think you'll find there'll be big changes in the lineups. Players will be dropped and replaced quicker than you can say Danny Roll.
Okay. Matt Ryan says he's gutted, but if I'm honest, I said at kickoff I'd take a performance, and we spoke about this last time, didn't we? Mm-hmm. After Millwall, we needed a performance, and I thought we got that today. We looked a lot better and created more than enough chances to win it. Can't go on about set pieces either. 9 out of 10 of those plays get stopped, and 10 out of 10 it definitely gets stopped if it's us that's attacking. A bit of a gripe at the referee there. So there was a lot of positivity on social media. I know I picked on a few on, but people did say the performance was better, and that's all you asked for, wasn't it? You all sat here last week and said that team owes a performance. Matt, did you feel that you got one?
Yeah, I think the formation change helped massively in aiding the performance. I thought the players that were picked, some were out of necessity because we had Jamal Lowe missing and obviously Deshaun Bernard missing due to international duty and them getting back late. I think ultimately the performance was better. There was a lot more recognition of kind of when we could play short and we could play out, but also when the ball just did need to go long and just get it out of danger. I thought there was a lot more recognition of kind of like when and how to press. I thought that was far better. I thought Shea Charles was outstanding. I thought Marvin Johnson, you mentioned Max Lowe, who came on obviously for Marvin Johnson. Marvin Johnson went off with cramp. Up until that point, he was a real threat and a thorn in the side. Olaf Kabaki, who came in for his first league start, looks really positive as well. There were loads of positives from it. Ultimately, I saw that obviously any time that you score in the 92nd minute, you've got to see it as 2 points dropped if you go on to draw the game. However, we are probably only 1 or maybe 2 points from where I originally had us at the start of the season, given the run. The worrying thing is obviously is the teams and the games that we have coming up in this next run of fixtures. We have Luton at the weekend. We then have West Brom at home. We've got Burnley in there. We've got Bristol City. So realistically, if you take the lead in the 93rd minute, you have to see that game out because of the games that are coming up, because it could very well be that we're sat here in a number of weeks' time and we have taken 1 point from those 4 games available. And that, with Bristol City is away from home. It just, to me, it was a game that you had to win. I'll take a performance, absolutely. And again, to be absolutely crystal clear, it is nowhere near as bad as this time last season, and we are nowhere near that. But I think it's this dawning realisation of Sheffield Wednesday fans that this is what a mid-table side is. Mid-table sides lose a lot of games, they win some, and they draw some. That is what happens for a mid-table. A mid-table could be anywhere between a 14th place finish to 9th. Just get used to the fact of we could still be in February. I know, Andrew, you mentioned not being in and around relegation trouble. I agree with you. I think ultimately I don't think that we will be. However, that could still mean that by April you're still in with a chance of going down and you stay up.
Okay. Glyn, Matt obviously correctly said that it's Luton next. They got their first win at the weekend. What does he need to do in terms of personnel and formation for this one? It's your first go at a relegated side. Does he need to change anything, especially given how you set up against Millwall your last away game?
Yeah, so I'd like to see him stick with the lineup that he started the weekend with. I know Matt backed Luton to top the league, episode 1. I don't see it purposely for the reason. Yeah, well, I know you can't really take much from last season from Luton, but they've had 1 win in something like 22 games, or 2 wins in 22 games. It's yes, they've come straight down from the Premier League and they've been playing your lights at Man City, but that doesn't breed confidence to me that they're wanting to come and win games, and I looked at the stats of Luton, the game that they've just played, and yeah, they won, but it was a 50-50 game. It could have gone either way. I don't fear Luton whatsoever, and I think if we go and we put it on them and we have shots on target, that's what's missing for me. I keep saying it week in, week out. hit the ball at the net and mop up the sloppy seconds and the thirds if you need to.
Okay.
But you need to score goals. So, that's my take on Luton.
Yeah, I wasn't there for the first episode to give my comments about who I thought was going to go up this season, but I was clearly expecting it to be Burnley and Sunderland as the top two. That was my prediction, hoping that Wednesday might sneak in there, but of course that's not happening at the moment. But I certainly said to you from the word go that I don't see Leeds or Sheffield United going up this season, and I'm sticking to that. I'm just hoping that we somehow can get into the race, somehow, because we've let ourselves down so far.
All right. Two final questions for you then on this week's episode. Left backs is where we're at in terms of our trawl through your squad. Let's have a look at them. You've already mentioned Lowe and Johnson. Matt, when all's fit, who's your best left back?
Really good question, Mark. Depends on the formation, is the honest answer. Out and out left back, I think it's got to be Max Lowe in the formation that best suits the football club, myself included in this. Marvin Johnson needs to stop being doubted, and we need to push forward with him for the foreseeable future. Paul Valentin has the dexterity to be able to play right back, and he's more effective going down the wing as a right back rather than a left and cutting in. At this point in time, it's Marvin Johnson's shirt to lose, and that should be the case. That's no slight against Max Lowe because of where he's come from. He's a very competent right back. I sat on this show and said that it feels like we've grown up in the wing back positions over the transfer window. At the moment, it's not happened for him. I don't think he's been supported by the system that we play, but it's Marvin Johnson at the minute.
Okay. And then for Andrew and Glyn, I'll come to you for this one. So the August Player of the Month awards are due on this channel, but we are asking this year for your Player of the Month who's got the most unsung player, the player that has gone about their business quietly, efficiently, but hasn't hit the headlines. So, we know it's difficult given...
I was just about to say, Mark,
some of the performances.
Yeah, narrowing down to one match, or in fact two matches. In fact, I tell you what, I'm going to throw a real gem in there. I'm going to give it to Patterson. Patterson for coming on and scoring 2 goals in the second half at Grimsby in the League Cup to help us win 5-1 away from home. There we go.
Okay, that says it all, doesn't it, Glenn?
A toss-up between Marv and Paul. I think they've both been put to the back of the queue slightly, and for no reason really whatsoever, because they're both grafters. Last season we were, Paul got the most improved player. He really found a home at Wednesday, and his performances were fantastic towards the end of last season. So, and the effort that he's put in, and the graft that he's put in when he has come on and backfill positions, it's like they've both just slotted straight back into the team. So,
okay.
The two for me definitely.
All right. If you can disagree with any of those or got your own ideas, you know what to do. Drop them in the comments below. Thank all three of you. Fingers crossed for a win at Luton.
Are we doing score predictions?
Desperate for that. Go on, Andrew. You take it. Go on.
Well, I was there. The first time I saw us play at Luton was April Fool's Day, would you believe? 1972. We got stuffed 3-1. That better not happen this week. I do not want us losing again. I'm hoping now. I was going to go for a draw if we'd have held on to beat QPR. We didn't get the win. I'm hoping we're going to sneak a win at Luton to make up for it. 1-0, please. Any win, anyhow.
Yeah. Yes, please, Wednesday. Please, one Monday. I'm going to come here and talk about positive things. All right. Cheers, Glenn. Cheers, Matt. Cheers, Andrew. Thank you so much for watching. Drop us a subscribe if you haven't done already. And we'll see you the other side of the Blackpool game and the game at Luton. 2 orange teams for you this week. There we go. All right. See you next week.